Finally, I'm back home for the spring break from college and exams. I can take a break from movie reviews for a while. Wait, no, I can't. I've still got Turning Red to do. I've still got the Batman to do. I've got all these other movies coming out. Oh God, and I'm so behind on all of them. How am I going to take care of them now? But at the same time, relax during spring break. I get. Ah! God damn it. Turning Red is the latest new Disney Pixar animated movie focusing on 13-year-old Chinese Canadian girl Maylin Lee as she struggles to be both her mother's obedient and loyal daughter, while at the same time embracing and going through all of the chaos that usually happens around her teenage years as she's growing up. And at the same time, whenever she gets too excited or stressed out, she transforms into a giant red panda. Now, originally, my biggest concern for me going into this movie is, of course, the subject material. And what I mean by that is that I was worried that I was going to have a hard time really relating to this film that really delves into the whole female perspective of puberty. And that's something that me, a white male, cannot really relate to, as I personally have had a very different experience. But I eventually just decided to put that behind me, sit down, and watch this movie and see how this film handles this subject from a whole new perspective other than mine. And overall, I was very surprised. A lot of people are already hating this movie, especially even before it even came out, because it's about a teenage Asian girl going through puberty, which I think is absolutely stupid. I think it's completely unfair to judge this movie because it dives into a very key important subject matter that you have an entirely different experience with than what the movie is doing. Sure, you've never experienced stuff like periods and tampons, but at the same time, you haven't experienced your loved one be killed right in front of you while running away from an armed conflict. You haven't experienced your apprentice being burned alive in front of you. And you also haven't experienced a giant purple man snap his fingers and erase half of all life throughout the universe. Because for me, this movie is as much a film about puberty as much as it is a film about embracing your self identity. While I may not be able to relate a whole lot as far as periods and tampons and pads come, I can still relate to May and what she's going through throughout this whole movie as she learns to accept the panda and as well as her own personal choices, her own lifestyles, her own decisions, and really become her own person as opposed to what her mother wants her to be. Because when growing up, we all learn to embrace something that might be unusual or weird or different than what everyone else is used to. But at the same time, it's those weird and unusual interests and choices that really make us unique and special in our own certain way. But as much as this film is a serious coming of age story, it's also a nice, fun little comedy movie as well. The animation in this movie is highly reminiscent of a lot of anime vibes, such as like the whole extreme facial expressions and even the eyes widening and sparkling. Hell, even the whole main character going through a magical transformation is very reminiscent of other anime such as Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon, for example. Furthermore, the comedy in this movie is very entertaining to watch because it also is about these girls all together trying to go see this one boy band that they're absolutely obsessed with, which makes sense during that period of time in life. And it's absolutely hilarious to see how they get from point A to point B in the movie. However, at the same time, I can understand where people are coming from when they say that the comedy is a bit too over the top or obnoxious for them. Especially with the case in Malin's mother, as she actively goes out of her way to try and protect her daughter, but ends up embarrassing her instead. A problem that has really come up a whole lot when other people talk about this movie is that it isn't like any other Pixar movie that they've made, which I can definitely agree with, but at the same time, I feel like that's a good thing here. Because most Pixar movies, for the most part, are more heartfelt and more emotional and more serious when it comes to their themes, per se. Whereas this one, while it is a bit lighter, at the same time, I still think that it's serious enough when it comes to its subject matter to where it's not completely losing focus. But for me, I found this movie to be very fun and very entertaining, while at the same time being very mature and serious when it came to its subject matter. I feel like if you've gone through a change either emotionally, physically, or mentally, or some type of major event that has shaped you to become who you are now, you can definitely relate to this movie in some way, shape, or form. But overall, I was very surprised that I ended up liking this movie. I thought it was very entertaining, very funny, and I was surprised that I was able to really relate to it despite my initial worries. I like what Dami Shi has done with this movie, and I would love to see more of her work in the future. But overall, I'm going to give Disney Pixar's Turning Red a 9 out of 10. Thanks again for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And be sure to stick around here for more content coming up soon in the future. I'll see you guys next time.